Up next, there is Miami Dolphins, the Houston Texans, and one of the worst slaughters I've seen in a long time. At least the worst slaughter this entire season.
Was it 42-0 at the half?
At halftime, it was 41 and 0 at
41.
halftime.
Yeah. Okay.
I think you were the one who told me about there was a news article that apparently somebody wrote that Houston actually forgot their flight and Miami
Yeah.
played a high school football team instead.
Yeah. It was like a parody news where it was like the NFL was. He was kind of making fun of all the scandals the NFL has. Like they tried to cover it up.
uh,
So yeah, that was pretty funny. I wish if I could remember who wrote it, I'd give him a shout out, but I don't. So
yeah,
I'm
well,
sorry.
hopefully someone out there will know.
Right. But so last week I told you that I thought the Texans were the worst team in football.
Yeah,
Here we are, a week later, and they are one less Arian Foster. So if they weren't the worst team, they are now. And um, considering he was the only reason the game even, uh, I wouldn't even say it wasn't an embarrassment. Just the fact that they were scoring points though at all was pretty much because of Arian Foster.
yeah.
So they're screwed, like hard. Their season's pretty much done as far as I'm concerned. Like,
It's between them and the Baltimore Ravens are probably going to be the worst teams this year, and Ravens are definitely struggling, but I've said this, I think, the last 2 weeks in a row now that Houston just looked lost. Like, here's another little
yeah,
tidbit that happened off the field. Ryan Mallett didn't make it to the last practice, so they couldn't even take Brian Hoyer out and at halftime and try Ryan Mallett in because they took him out of the game since he didn't make practice. They said, well, then
well,
you're
no,
not
no, he
eligible to
missed.
play.
No, he missed his flight to the game.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah, he missed his he had to take a commercial flight to get to Miami,
Oh,
which I guess he paid for it himself or whatever. And they just, I guess he's probably gonna get cut. I think he's done personally.
well, he's definitely not showing much commitment to the team. Although, arguably, you could say, well, who wants to show commitment to that team? I guess my counter argument is you're in the fucking NFL. You know how rare that is. You might as well show commitment even if you're on a shitty team.
Yeah, maybe you
That's
get traded to a better one.
yeah,
I mean, if you're not gonna show up for the games or not show up for, you said like traffic or whatever, which okay. I mean, I don't know, man.
yeah,
You're going for a flight. I mean, if there's the one thing you leave early for, it's for a damn flight.
yeah.
Uh, I mean, I'm pretty habitually late myself, but I've never missed a damn flight.
Right, yeah,
So
exactly.
we got close one time. We got close. Little inside reference. But I mean, that's ridiculous. Like it's completely unprofessional.
Yeah,
Just I think that's a pretty fair statement. Now I don't dislike Mallet or anything, and he's okay. I mean, he's a decent backup.
yeah.
But how are you going to get picked up by another team if you're not showing you're committed? I mean, there's plenty of other guys that actually want to play and want to show up.
Oh,
So
definitely.
you know, he might be done. He's probably done with the Texans, and he might be done with the NFL. I
Yeah.
don't.
I think that's kind of a strange mentality for people who are playing the NFL. That once they get that far, they're just like, well, I'm good enough to be in the NFL, so I can go wherever I want. But I don't think a lot of these players realize how rare it is to actually make the NFL, especially as a quarterback. I mean, there's what, how many millions of people that live in the United States, and out of those millions and millions of people, that 32 of them are starting quarterbacks. Like that's an extremely rare, you know, it's a very low
Yeah,
percentage,
when
and then even there's so maybe total 64 because there's always a backup for every team
right.
too. So I mean, that's hard. It's really hard to actually make it, and even if you are a backup somewhere, like you should just appreciate that you're in the NFL because that's
Yeah,
really hard to
especially when
do.
you consider that every boy in America at some point probably fantasized about being an NFL quarterback.
Right.
Like everyone had it as a dream pretty much no matter how brief it may have been.
Yeah,
But and you're one of the few guys that made it. Like you're not gonna get a lot of sympathy for not showing up for a game.
exactly.
Not showing up, not making a flight, whatever. So
I I think I want to dwell on uh, a little bit. It's really interesting that it happened to be Miami and Houston playing this week because Miami completely proved that they had the talent on their team, they had the players on their team. It was bad coaching, and they
right.
completely turned their team around. I
Mhm.
know they're on a 2-win like streak right now. I mean, this win against Houston was huge for them. I mean, Lamar Miller
Yeah.
broke out. I mean, even last week Lamar Miller did really good, but he really broke out. Tannehill looked good.
I think
Landry looked good.
Tannehill set a record for consecutive completions actually in his
I didn't know that.
so yeah.
So overall, Miami's defense clearly looked good. I mean, when it's 41-0 at halftime, your defense stepped up. So shout out to Campbell, on Miami now that he's is a guy, and I said this last week. Everybody can go watch that video. I said that this is a head coach that he even motivated me of how great he was taking on that team, and he took the Miami and he's really turning it around. Now the question is it too little, too late? Because they have the Patriots and the Jets in the division who are very tough
I
this
don't think
year.
it is. I think it's maybe if they keep winning, it was just in time. I
Yeah, that
think.
could be.
2 weeks ago we were talking about how they're at a must-win scenario now,
Yeah.
and they've won 2 weeks in a row. So bravo, they kept their season alive.
Yeah, they definitely did. And if this isn't their season, next season should definitely be their season. That if as
Yeah,
long as they keep a majority of their same players around and keep working together, and now it's going to be Campbell's second year of taking over the team, and everybody's getting really familiar with like his whole like setup and his schematics and everything. They could be an even better team next year, but I do agree with you that I'm not going to count them out this year. They could definitely turn things around, and they have been so far. And the reason that I bring up Miami's head coaching staff is because I feel that's the exact same problem with Houston. I mean, I know unfortunately Arian Foster is out for the rest of the year because of his Achilles, but I'm not discounting that Brian Hoyer is a terrible quarterback yet. I don't want to believe that he's just that bad as of yet. They have DeAndre Hopkins, who I think still has the most passing yards in the NFL right now.
DeAndre Hopkins is probably the one good thing about their season.
Yeah,
And JJ Watt looked more like himself too. Like JJ Watt couldn't even save his team. He had I think like 4 tackles and a
yeah.
couple sacks. Like he had a pretty good game, you know.
And what I mean, even their defense all around
Right.
has good players and everything. I'm blaming head coaching on Houston.
Oh, he'll be
I'm
gone.
Yeah,
He'll be.
and honestly, if I was Houston's general manager right now, I would look at Miami, who they just played, and be like, "Hey, they fired their head coach after week 4, and look what's happened to him. I think now's the time. Like, you're gone. I mean, bring someone else up who actually wants to win because their head coach. I don't know if it's necessarily not a motivational thing for their head coach, but he's not doing the right decisions, and they definitely need to bring someone else who can.
It's honestly not the worst idea because this division is so sorry that despite this game and despite their season, I said their season's over, but mathematically, it's actually not even close to
Yeah,
over. You know, it would be over if they were in any other division. But the AFC South is the new NFC South.
yeah,
Definitely, and they were honestly a pretty bad division. I think they were the second worst division last year,
yeah. They were.
but they're definitely the worst this year, and it's really not even close. There's not a single good team in that whole division right now, which is very surprising.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess we can get more on that when we talk about the Colts. But I don't really have too much else to say about this game.
Yeah, I don't really either. I think I just kind of I got off my chest what I felt like needed to be said, and I you do make a really good point though. I think it honestly wouldn't even be a bad move if Houston decided to get a new head coach and try to turn the team around because hell, they could still win the division if they can do the same thing that they did with Campbell, with
Although,
Miami.
I guess you got to look at it this way though. You make it in the playoffs with that sorry ass team. Who gives a shit? You're not going anywhere. So maybe it'd be better to just bomb and try to get the first draft pick again. And maybe this time pick a quarterback instead of, a defensive player that
Yeah,
clearly was not worth the pick. I don't dislike Jadeveon Clowney or anything, but he shouldn't have gone number one, obviously. So, you know, maybe the Texans will get a better pick 2 years later.
well, that just seems to be Texans' whole everything. They just never had a quarterback. I don't think
Right.
in their entire franchise they've never had like a good quarterback.
Now they had Matt Shaw for years,
Yeah,
so no, they've never had a franchise-defining quarterback where you're like, this is the guy,
yeah.
ever. So yeah, they need to get one.
I think
Obvious
it's
statement of the week.
yeah. There you go. Obvious statement of the week. And then, hey, if you want more obvious statements of the week, or follow us anytime at whatever we want to say, other stupid shit, I guess. We have Twitter and Facebook. Links are in the description, and you can follow us on there. And you can also give us your opinion about Houston and Miami. So there you go.